Hello and welcome to Heartrepreneur Radio and TV show with Terry Levine. I'm your co-host, Belle McGallant, and I'm excited to be here today. You can connect with Terry, me, and other like-minded heart-based business owners in the Heartrepreneurs with Terry Levine Facebook group. So go check it out. And we'd love it if you'd hit that like button, subscribe, and we always love those 5-star reviews. Don't forget to share with us what you're getting from these shows. So we are back this week with number 3 of chapter 3. I've got Terry Levine here. She's the author of the best-selling Conversion Equation. We've been talking about chapter 3. This is our 3rd week for chapter 3 because there's so much juicy information in there. We've been talking about joint ventures and the different ways that you can play with them and the different kinds of joint ventures that you can use. So welcome to the show again, Terry. Welcome to your own show, Terry.
Really fun. And it's really fun for me not only to be here with my co-host, and you've done a fabulous job. If you're tuning into the show and you haven't listened and watched a lot of the shows, Velma's been a co-host now for quite a while. She has interviewed some amazing experts. I recommend that you actually subscribe to this and listen and watch a lot more. And Velma, thank you for all you do and the beautiful job you do as co-host of Heartrepreneur Radio and TV.
Well, I absolutely love doing interviews, as you know, because I did it a long time ago. And a long time ago, I interviewed you at least 3 or 4 times. So this is kind of like picking up my favorite bike.
I'm enjoying it.
Not that you're a bike, but okay, so we've been talking about joint venture partnerships, how to find them, and the different kinds. We've got joint ventures with people that support your client family members, either before, during, or after they work with you. And we also talked about joint venturing with your client family members, your customers, your patients, and that kind of thing, and how you can do that. And you also actually in this, I think I'm going to start with this one first, actually, because you talk a little bit about marketing failures. And one of the examples that you gave in there is about direct mail. And so how do JV strategies differ from the example that you gave of direct mail? How does it make a bigger difference when you use something like joint venture strategies versus something like direct mail?
I have a piece of direct mail sitting right here on my desk. I was in my other home in New Jersey. I just got back to Pennsylvania and I brought the mail up to my office. There's a piece right here. And they're making an offer, and the offer is to get 2,500 qualified prospects from buying a mailing list. Well, it's a direct mail letter. I don't know the company. I don't know anything about the company. I literally have it sitting on my desk because after our interview, I'm going to shred it. It's sitting for my paper shredder. Why? I don't know the company. I don't like the company because I don't know them. I certainly don't trust them. It's a random mailing. So it's meaningless to me. If one of my client family members or one of my friends or one of my colleagues or whatever it might be says, oh my gosh, Terry, I got some leads from this direct, this company, and they're really amazing, and you might want to consider using them, I would now be checking it out before I purchase. Still, I probably want to see a little bit of content or try on a sample or talk to them on the phone or download something. So I'm going to give you the opposite of that. So this morning, very early, around 6 a.m., James and I, my assistant, were chatting. And I was telling him about this letter. And he said, throw it away. I said, yeah, it's in the shredder pile. And he said, do you remember so-and-so? So this is a former client of mine that, of course, I remember. And the person is retired since. I'm like, of course. He said, well, his wife happens to also have a very similar service. Do you want me to call her? Sure. Now that's different. We know the person. James is going to have a connection. He's going to have a conversation with her. So that's the difference. I believe if you're just randomly mailing things to people, it's going to go in the circular file. And so I don't recommend that at all.
Well, and what I love about what you shared there is that it's not that direct mail is a useless strategy.
Not at all.
It's that it needs to be used strategically.
Everything needs strategy. So I use direct mail. And so let me be clear on that. Direct mail, especially nowadays, actually gets opened. Why? There's a lot less direct mail. A lot less companies are direct mailing. Most people are relying on email, which is so ridiculous because email doesn't always get through, gets caught in spam filters, it gets deleted. There's a million things that happen in email and people are inundated with email. I even emailed my husband something and mentioned it to him. He goes, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "Did you look at your email?" Because I have thousands. It's probably lost in there, which is typical. Now, if I mail something, I mail it strategically. I think of who would actually open mail from me and not a random person. So client family members, past client family members, prospective client family members who are already engaged with some of my content, certainly referrals, certainly endorsement partners, right? So if you're strategic with direct mail, oh my gosh, number one, nowadays it will get open. So think about how to use it, but just don't buy a mailing list or randomly mail people, or if they haven't engaged with you, know you, like you, and trust you, the mail isn't going to get open either. So that's how I feel very strongly about direct mail. Yes, it has a place when used, you said it, strategically.
Perfect. And what I'm also hearing is how joint ventures can be blended with strategies. So I'm looking forward to some more of the juicy stuff that comes out of that. So you also talk about JV strategies that combined the JV relationships, strategic marketing alliances, or customer strategic alliances. You've got a couple of examples in here of how they how they can work together. You will after you work with this one strategy, you were talking about the joint ventures, focus on your current and past customers who may own compatible businesses and know other people who want your products or services. So it wasn't just, talk to your client family members and get a direct referral, but it was like, talk to ones that have a compatible audience. So it was really combining the JV strategy with the customer alliance strategy into one. And I think that would even be more effective.
Yeah,
what do you think?
That adds more power. So, when I first started in this industry, literally, I'm just being transparent. I had 4 people on an email list. Okay. I literally had like 4 friends. Can I send you an email newsletter? I didn't have a list. Nobody knew me in this industry. And so what I did was I went to my corporate accountant because I formed my first company, which was an S Corp, comprehensive coaching. And I said, his name was Rob. And I said, "Rob, I would like to do an alliance with you. You must work with a lot of business owners like me, since what you do is partially help people incorporate. Do you?" And he said, "Yeah, that's my client base." I said, "Would it help your client base to have a strategy session for free that you give them with me, which could create more loyalty, right? Because they will appreciate you for doing it." He said, "Sure." Well, Rob had a good sized book of business. I'm brand new. I have 4 people on an email list. And so what Rob did was we wrote up a letter and made a gift certificate. So you'd get it. Let's say Velma as a client of Rob Yost. Rob has gone ahead and he's purchased a strategy session with Terry Levine, and Terry will help you on your business goals and focus now that you have your LLC formed. You just have to make sure that when you schedule, you use this coupon. I got 52 of those sessions, 52. Okay. Do all of them turn into customers? No. However, one of them turned into a client who's been with me for roughly 17 years. And that client family member has introduced me to 7 other clients. And then you can build a whole tree on that. How many of those 7 introduced me to more and more? It all goes back to me thinking, who could I do a strategic alliance with who might have the audience that I want to work with? And who am I also, this I recommend, who am I paying? I looked through all my credit card statements. I looked through my checkbook and I said, who am I paying? Can I ask them to get me in front of people? Whether it was my dentist, seriously, my family doctor, my eye doctor, my accountant, my trademark attorney, my financial advisor. I went through every single person that I was paying for anything and basically said, can we do some kind of a strategic alliance, because it will give your clients goodwill. Okay, giving a session with me would give goodwill. Are you following that? And does that resonate?
I'm totally following that. I have another friend who wrote a children's book, and she was choosing to gift one copy to each of the dentists in her area. And we talked a little bit about what kind of a letter could be attached. And it could simply be, here's my gift to you.
Perfect.
If you want to share this with your clients or your patients, then here's the discount I'd love to give you, because you're making a difference by keeping our children's teeth healthy and everything like that. Like it was a lot more flowed than that, but it's little things like that that can make a difference. And you talk a lot in your book about how to approach your joint venture partnerships. Now, we covered a little bit of that this time, and I know that I mentioned, I think it was in the first show, I talked about a friend who's a massage therapist, and I shared with her a strategy regarding working with realtors who, after people move, need a massage therapist. So it's that kind of a thing where you can get a little bit creative with the type of people that you alliance with, that you joint venture with. What are some of the really important things for us to pay attention to when we are connecting with a joint venture or a strategic alliance?
Great question. So first of all, it's all about, this is what everything is about, what's in it for me. That's what they're going to want to know. What's in it for me? And it doesn't always have to be financial. I want people to really get that. I do a lot of summits and I go on a lot of, webinars, and the what's in it for me is I'm getting exposed to a larger audience. In some cases, the what's in it for me is that I could offer a product or service. In some cases, the what's in it for me is it's goodwill for my own client family members. So before you approach someone, sit down and think what's in it for you. So I'm going to go back to the Joe Vitale example that I used in an earlier episode with you. What was in it for Joe? He had a massive email list, a huge following, and here comes Terry Levine, new in the industry, with an email list of 4. So what's in it for Joe? I said, Joe, I'll give you 50% of every sale that I have from this. Now listen to this, for life. So let me give you an example of what would happen. I was selling a very inexpensive product and we sold a lot of them. So Joe got half of that, made around 25 grand. Okay, that might have been worth it. Anybody who came from that over all of these years in my business, which is 20 something years since Joe and I did this, I continue to pay Joe every single month. And I'm happy to do it. So you have to think of what's the because. Now, I want to be really clear. It does not always have to be financial. I do things for other people very often that have nothing to do with finance. However, they approached me with a because. Before you start contacting everyone, sit down and ask yourself, what's the because? Why would this person want to do it? Now, when I use the accounting example, why did Rob want to do this? Rob, my accountant, wanted to do this because it was really goodwill for his clients. No other corporate accountant was also saying, look, when you become an LLC or an S Corp or C Corp with me, I give you a business strategy session with someone who's going to help you in your business. That was a game changer for him. It created goodwill with his clients. So sit down first, Thelma, and think about what's the because, and when you approach someone, really stress the what's in it for them. This isn't like, hey, I'm starting my business and I really need help getting exposure. You're not coming from that. So I hope I've made it very clear that there is a distinction here.
Very clear, very clear. One more thing that you talked about in this chapter, and I think we're just about at the end of this chapter, is cross promotions. When two or more companies piggyback each other's various promotions on the same ad piece or marketing piece, they cross promote each other's businesses. And you kind of gave an example with that gift basket, but one of the examples that you put in here was, I think it was a theater ticket, if I remember correctly.
Yep, that's correct. Let me give you a more recent example from a client family member. So my client Mindy in New Mexico, she has a company called Mindy Moves. And basically what Mindy does is she stages your home and she guarantees that your home will sell for more because she staged it. She totally guarantees it. So what did Mindy do? Well, I connected Mindy with the concept of getting in front of mortgage brokers, getting in front of realtors. And so what she's done is she's done all these strategic alliances, piggybacked on them. So if I'm your realtor now, and you're going to sell your house through me and you're going to sign a contract to work with me, I'm going to say, you know what? I also want you to work with Mindy at Mindy Moves, because Mindy is going to do the proper staging of your home so that we can sell your house for more. She actually guarantees it. So now she has a partnership, not formal partnership, with a strategic alliance where they're literally selling their services together. They do ads together, they do seminars together, they send out emails together. And so instead of a realtor just, here I am, your realtor, it's here I am, your realtor, who's going to bring in the right home staging person. So you're going to get more money for your home, guaranteed. That helps both of them. And it helps the buyer, right? Or the seller.
Absolutely brilliant. I mean, I think, things could be like, a gym membership, or a trainer can have a relationship with a supplement store and that kind of thing, or even a particular type of restaurant that sells healthy food, right? Those kinds of things. There's lots of really amazing opportunities when you think about who can I play with?
Right. Who can I play with? And again, everything in the book is made to be easy, effortless, joyful, and fun. And, again, I'll say this, I think I said it last, and this would be helpful. Get your copy of the conversion equation, get it, any major bookstore or online, because it would be so helpful for you to follow along and to live vicariously right now through the other people who are just like you in the book. There's case study after case study. You can learn step by step what to implement. And then when and if you have questions, you drop into the Facebook group Heartrepreneurs with Terry Levine, and I literally am in there answering your questions. So we want to help you. That's what we're here for.
I love that, because sometimes you can have the concepts in your head, and when you look at some of these case studies and stuff like that, it can trigger the ideas of, oh, well, I could do this, or I could do that. I think that's one of the biggest values, is it really triggers your imagination on what's possible. And then, of course, hanging out in the Facebook group, then you can throw your ideas in there, and you're going to make some comments. There's a lot of your client family members that hang out there, and people are going to help you get creative with those ideas.
Exactly.
So awesome. Thanks so much for coming and joining me again today, Terry. We are going to be talking about chapter 4 next. So be sure to come back, and we will chat more about what you can learn through the Conversion Equation best-selling book and Terry Levine. Thanks for coming.